There's no way we're buying a car today, but then you were set up. Today I'm going to educate you on the psychology of the sale and how the dealerships set you up. You'll be tricked into buying a car today. In every city across our country, somebody is leaving home right now saying, I'm not going to buy a car today, or we're not going to buy a car today, and we'll buy one anyway. And how does that all happen? Well, you're about to find out. Hello, I'm Kevin Hunter. I worked in the car business for years, was a top salesman, but I couldn't handle the nonsense my dealers expected of me, the things they wanted me to tell my customers. Use my experience to your advantage, because I can tell you every trick along the way that a car dealer will use to trap you into a car deal today, even when you didn't want to buy a car at all. Some quick housekeeping before we start. I appreciate you subscribing to the channel, clicking like, leaving a comment below. I read as many of these comments as possible and try to respond frequently. And then please also share this on social media with your friends. They deserve to benefit from this too. Here's a little background. The car business fired me for providing honest help to my customers. They said I was cutting the throat of the dealership, but that didn't stop me from helping car buyers. As of today, I've literally helped car buyers save billions of dollars on car deals with my car buying advice, which is exactly why I have a few dealers coming on the channel to disparage me. Well, I welcome their company. I hope you take this seriously, because I'm about to prevent you from being set up. 4 key points to know before we start. There are 3 body positions to remember. Number 1, standing outside. There's an 80% chance you'll still leave the dealership. Standing inside, less than a 50% chance you'll leave the dealership. But sitting inside, only 20% of those customers ever get up and leave without a car. The goal for the dealership is to get you sitting inside. Don't forget that. Number 2, these are the tags and TOs. Every time you're introduced to a manager, you'll be introduced to a closer to be used against you later. They will all be involved if needed to put a new car down the road today. The salesman can actually lose his or her job by failing to get enough of these tags or TOs while you're at the dealership. If you weren't sure what TO meant, it's the turnover to a manager. Number 3, the rip-off tool, the Foursquare. This is the negotiating tool to make you think you're winning while taking your attention away from the things that really matter. I'll cover that more in detail in just a moment. And number 4, the winning math equation. Pay special attention to this because this will encapture everything I'm about to explain to you. D times V plus F have to be greater than R. I'll come back to all of this at various points, but write them down. This equation, these body postures, the tags and TOs, and the Foursquares are going to totally change your understanding of what happens on a car lot and how you were pushed into a car deal you didn't want. Let's start with the math equation because, as I said, it captures the entire visit to the dealership. D times V plus F have to be greater than R. Now, what is this all about? D equals dissatisfaction, V equals vision, F is first steps, and R is resistance. Maybe you're not good at math, but I'll make this really easy for you. D, V, and F have a point value of 0 to 10. R has a point value of 50 to 100. Nobody has 0 resistance, right? As you can see, if the point values for D, V, and F all equal 10, the math equation is going to work out to 110 points, and it won't matter if you're that easy laydown customer at 50 points of resistance or the impossible stubborn mule buyer at 100 points of resistance. You're going to buy a car today or within 72 hours because a skilled salesman beat you with the math. Now, let's see how this plays out. The sequence of events I'm about to describe may not happen in the exact order because every salesman is different and their process is different, but you'll recognize these steps when they get to them. So for starters, you drive onto the lot. You get out when you spot something you like and start walking around the car. You'll be approached by a salesman the moment somebody sees you, and you'll be asked questions like, have you folks been helped? Have you ever been here before? These are not questions designed to help you. They are questions which determine which salesman owns you. No, I'm not kidding. If you were at the dealer before and some guy you may not even remember put your name in a database, he's the one who owns you. And you'll be turned over to that person who failed to earn your business before. This is perhaps one of the dumbest things about the car business that I've ever seen. A ridiculous customer service model. They actually think they own you. No, I'm not kidding. Now that your owner is determined, you might also get formed questions about family, occupation, recreation, and motivation, your owner is going to show you that they're your friend now too. Many salesmen will skip the small talk altogether because they're just so hungry to get this deal closed, they forget to make a friend out of you, and they might go right into the interview. What brings you guys in today? You say you're just looking. You're not buying a car today, remember? Well, then they ask, are you looking for product information or pricing information or a little of both? And you get caught flat-footed and you say, a little of both. The next questions might be, do you have a monthly payment goal in mind, or do you have cash down to work with? These seem like perfectly harmless questions, but they are setting you up for the first steps and that Foursquare I warned you about. They want to condition you to make decisions on cash down and monthly payments. They want you to ignore the real information you should be looking at, like total cost of the purchase and taxes, the list of fees, service plans, gap insurance, window etching, nitrogen-filled tires, all kinds of things they'll add into the car deal, just to name a few. Next is what I call the most people phrases, or most of our customers phrases. This will be used in almost everything they respond with next. Now you might wonder, why do they do this? Well, they agree with your answer no matter what question they ask, and then they say, perfect, that's what most people are shooting for. You're led to believe that you're doing what most people do. There's safety in numbers, like the pack mentality. You feel like you might be winning, and you start to feel kind of smart, and yet you're also getting suckered into what most people do. You see, at least 85% get suckered into this process. Will you be trading in a vehicle? You say you might. Do you mind if we go take a look at it? You agree and lead the way to your vehicle. Now, you may not notice, but the salesman invites an appraiser to join you, so you have extra information to think about when you go home tonight. This will be the first tag or TO to a manager. You're outside standing up. Remember that posture. It gives you control. You're feeling comfortable. You are next to your own car. There's no threat here because you can't buy your own car from them. After a little small talk, the manager gets right to work looking your car over. The goal here is to score big on dissatisfaction. That's the D in the beginning of the math equation. Before this is over, you'll be thinking about how old your car is, about high mileage, about getting stranded on the highway, needing new tires, the heater doesn't blow hot enough, the AC doesn't blow cold enough, the car's too big, it's too small, gets bad gas mileage, too many repairs, doesn't tow your boat, the list just goes on. Then you get asked, if you were going to spend $1,000 to $1,500 toward fixing your car, what would it be? And the longer you talk, the more answers you give to this question, the lower that trade value estimation goes. You might be reminded of these repairs if you buck the trade value quote you see later. All of these questions are designed to do three things. Number one, condition you to accept a low offer on your trade. Number two, score 10 points of dissatisfaction on your own car. It got bad enough there at the end you started feeling embarrassed about driving the thing off the lot if you were going to leave, but you're still not buying a car today, remember? And third, it emotionally prepares you for vision. What's that new car going to be? You're almost salivating to get into something new at this point. The appraisal guy leaves saying he likes you, will do his best for you, and you smile because he just seemed like such a nice guy. Next comes vision. That's the V in the math equation. It's the new car. You might hear questions like, will your next vehicle be just for you, or do you carry passengers or stuff? Do you plan to use it for commuting to work, or is it more for home and recreation? Do you need to tow anything? Is gas mileage important to you? This is a little bit of a fishing trip for information because this leads to what are known as the hot button questions. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is gas mileage? Or on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it to be able to tow something? All of these questions help them land you on a car. Well, time flies by, plenty of it. Your salesman has been carefully exposing you to test drives, smelling that new car smell, feeling the power of that engine, the comfy seats, that backup camera, the built-in navigation, a sunroof over your head, power lift gate in the back, the anti-crash sensors on both mirrors, nitrogen-filled tires, and of course, they're bragging about how good the finance man is. You see, they want to set all of your financial worries aside. This guy will be able to get anything done, and you better believe he can and he will. You are feeling all warm and fuzzy. You hear comments like, you'll never have to worry about getting stranded on the highway again. You see, they're tying back into dissatisfaction. And then they'll say, this thing really goes when you step on it. That's vision. You hear questions like, could you see yourself driving this home today? That's the soft close. And the truth is, you're actually starting to think about it. A good salesman scores a 10 on vision. If everything has gone to plan, they've hit 10 points on dissatisfaction, 10 points on vision, and that math alone comes up to 100 points. That's the resistance, perhaps, that you started the day with, and they could still get bonus points for first steps. You see where this is going? Now, finally, you're back at the dealership. You're sitting in the last car you drove, and the salesman says, "You said you wanted to go home and think about it." And I totally respect that. No, he doesn't, but he's going to say it. Do you want to take the numbers home with you as well? You do want all of the information to think about, right? And it only takes 5 minutes. This makes so darn much sense. You actually ask, "So what's involved?" He says, "I'll have the car appraiser finish up his numbers. You'll get the price of the car, a down payment information, and monthly payment information as well." This only takes like 5 minutes. These are the first steps, and it's also the Foursquare, and he makes them sound so easy that you agree. He invites you inside. Note your posture now. You're inside, but still standing. You're below that 50% threshold of walking away. You're not outside where you were 80% likely to leave. You're inside where you're far less likely to flee, and the scales have tipped slightly in the dealership's favor. Now you'll see your next tag or TO. You'll be shaking hands with either a used car manager, new car manager, or even the general manager, and maybe all three. If it's your lucky day, you'll have so many new friends. The salesman says, "My customer would like to see the numbers on this new car they just drove." "Excellent choice," says the manager. "That's been one of our hottest cars." That's the most people comment. Remember? Your salesman will be instructed to bring you on back. You follow because you've been invited to go where the VIP people go, and you're actually feeling a little bit important now. You see a table or desk and a comfy chair. You know where this is leading. And you're asked if you want coffee, pop, or water, anything. They pull out that chair. You ask for coffee. In fact, it feels like you are at the coffee shop. This is so nice now. And then you sit down. This is your weakest position all day. As I mentioned earlier, statistics show that maybe 20% of all car buyers will get up after they've been sitting down inside the dealership. The power of your standing posture is gone. You are likely to make that decision. You were so sure that you wouldn't. No, not today. Then out comes the Foursquare, the most deadly tool a dealership uses to rip off their customer. This is the information you agreed was a good idea to take home, and they're going to close you with it. You just may not know it yet. They'll write in the 4 categories: trade value, price of the car, down payment, and monthly payment. What you don't know is at the bottom 2 squares, cash down and monthly payment, is where your attention will go and where they will make the most money on the car deal. You're being set up to say yes to buying the car and being set up to get hosed by the most skilled salesman in the dealership, the finance officer. If the dealership thinks the salesman lacks the clout or the experience to close you, well, they'll have the manager present this Foursquare to you. And here's what this might look and sound like. Well, here's your trade value. We're giving you $5,000 for your car. It's a little bit rough, as we've seen, as we discussed outside, but I like you guys, so I got my manager to bump it up $5K. Hey, it's only the owner's money, right? And it's more than fair. Now here's the price of the car. We're at $27,890 as an example. After all the discounts, we have to put our best price forward the first time because we know you folks don't like to play games and mess around. And people are shopping us at 2 a.m. in the morning. If our best numbers aren't already out there, we lose business. That's just their way of saying, we don't want to negotiate this number. You'll find out why in just a second. And then here's your down payment. We'll use the $3,000 cash down, as we mentioned earlier, and your monthly payments here are $390 at 60 months, $345 at 72 months, and $295 at 84 months. Now, these numbers were meant to offend you. They want you to push back, to try to beat them up a little bit, to feel like you are winning, to feel like you got a deal. Then you start adding up your wins. You see the finish line. In your mind, you're seeing that this might all add up in your favor right here, right now, and you didn't expect that when you left home. They are now bouncing soft questions your way, questions designed to get you nodding your head and agreeing with them. These questions seem to have no consequence, but they do. Once you've been nodding your head, you usually don't shake your head. They've been doing this a long time. They know this. Then comes the closing statements. Well, if this all looks good, just initial right there, I'll take it back to finance and we'll see if we can get this closed up for you. You initial it. And you know, there's something symbolic about signing anything. You've given your word in your own mind. You feel obligated if it comes back the way you wanted. You're silently hoping it works out. The math has already defeated your resistance. The manager disappears, leaving you with the salesman or another manager. They aren't leaving you alone to talk. No way. They haven't come this far to let your logical mind override those emotions you're feeling. Moments later, the manager comes back with good news from the back office. Hey guys, it's a deal. He holds out his hand and you're tempted to shake it. I had to do some arm twisting, but the manager said, if you'll take it today, it's all yours. You look at your spouse looks at you. The manager sees this indecision on your face, because you weren't going to buy a car today. He asks, everything lined up just the way you wanted. Does it really make sense to have wasted this day just to come back and do it all over again? Another day? He might also ask, will you be titling this in your name, her name, or both? You might ask them to give you a minute alone. You're both thinking that you ought to go for it, but you had agreed not to buy anything today. When they give you that moment alone, you immediately begin selling each other on why you should do it now, and then the salesman comes back and 80% of you say, we'll take it. Yeah! You were set up by D times V plus F. Beat your R, the resistance. They tagged you with 2 or 3 managers. They got you to come inside and sit down. You lost your power position. They out-negotiated you with a Foursquare, and you thought you were winning. It was a setup from the very beginning, and you fell for it hook, line, and sinker. Here's my final tip. I have videos on this channel on how to beat the dealer finance office and the 11 fake fees you should never pay at a dealership. You need to watch these videos because what's coming after your decision to buy this car is a sit-down session with the most skilled salesman the dealership has, the finance officer. I don't have time to give you that education today. Go and watch those videos. If you aren't well educated when you step into that finance office, you are screwed. There's no better way to put it. I hope you really appreciate what I did for you here today. Subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you see videos we launch in the future. Give us a like, comment below, and be sure to share this on social media. Your friends deserve to benefit as well. And the next time you're thinking about buying a car, remember D times V plus F have to beat R. Remember the TOs and tags. Remember the sitting down posture inside the dealership, and never forget about that nasty Foursquare. And the next time, you'll buy your car on your terms, not theirs. I'm Kevin Hunter. Until next time, take care.